Hey guys, here we are, we're back again, and today we're going to be talking about Obsidian. Obsidian, as a matter of fact, is my second favourite character in DC Comics, first only to Dr. Fate, who we did the video on last time. And I'm only actually doing Obsidian because I had multiple requests for him. Thank you for those requests, and please, this time, leave them in the comments of this video and not any posts on forums that I make about the videos. That would be very helpful. Anyway, just before we start, I'd just like to apologise for the poor quality of the microphone. It's just, at the moment, the cable for my lovely mic is not working, so I'm using this really awful one that you're hearing right now. Right, let's get into this. So, Todd Rice, or Obsidian, as he became known when he was a superhero, so supervillain, is complicated. He's the son of the first ever Green Lantern called Alan Scott. I might do a video on him if you want me to. And yeah, he's pretty cool as a character, if you ask me. Alan Scott, that is, because well, he's like a magic version of the Green Lantern. Anyway, he was left in like a foster home because his mother was a schizophrenic villain called Thorn, and his father is a superhero, so they can't really look after him. And this is a really horrible adopted foster home thing. But and he also has a twin sister, but they didn't find out. They didn't meet each other until they were like in their mid-teens, which is when they found out about the superpowers. As a matter of fact, so Jade, or Jenny Lynn Hayden, as her name is, um, she has like very similar superpowers to Alan Scott in the way that they're quite like energy and green based, whereas Obsidian has powers derived from the Shadowlands. Just to really quickly fill you in, the Shadowlands is a embodiment of all the evil darkness ever created in the multiverse, that took a form of a realm, and he basically has a link to that thanks to when Alan Scott got into a fight with Ian Carkle, who is another person with connections to the Shadowlands, before Obsidian's birth. So that means that Obsidian has Shadowlands connections, which is really cool if you ask me. And he also has schizophrenia inherited from his mother, so pretty much bad luck there. But so basically, they've decided to become superheroes like their father when they figured out it was Alan Scott, and they joined the JSA. But because of the JSA being mainly made up of loads of ancient superheroes, legacy heroes, basically like Jay Garrick and Owlman and Doctor Fate, and well, yeah, you know the drill. I might do a who are the JSA video eventually if you want. But so after that, they decided to leave and join the Infinity Inc. because they didn't feel welcome in the JSA, and along with them was Stargirl, all of the younger members of the JSA, and like people like Nucleon, who eventually became Atom Smasher, I think. And yeah, they formed the Infinity Inc., who are kind of a cool team. They had a comic miniseries for it, but Lex Luthor managed to do some interesting things with Infinity Inc. when he made a super soldier serum, and it created a new Jade, which made Obsidian very upset because his sister died. Spoilers. Anyway, I'm getting out of hand here. Um, let's see. So basically, Obsidian did some. He worked for the JSA for a bit, but then his schizophrenia kind of got to him, and he went bad. Worked with Ian Carkle to take over the world, which he successfully did, and became in conflict with the JSA. He managed to take over some of the most powerful members, such as Doctor Fate and Jay Garrick and Hawk Girl, they helped him in his process of taking over the world. I'm talking way too fast here, aren't I? So they helped Obsidian take over the world, and yeah, he pretty much succeeded for a short amount of time. And then Alan Scott fought him, and he beat him. But the main reason Obsidian was succeeded actually is because he consumed all of Alan Scott's energy, and no, not Alan Scott, sorry, Ian Carkle, who was actually helping him out. Ian Carkle being another Shadowlands connected person, and also he killed his foster father, who I believe was called James Rice. I think Jim Rice, something like that. Yeah, James Rice. Anyway, he killed his adopted father, which is kind of sad after trapping him in the Shadowlands, and Alan Scott had to go find him. Alan Scott didn't like his foster father at all because he was a really, really horrible, abusive person. But that's not the point. I'm like, yeah, that kind of explains some things, but not others. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself again. Obsidian basically he was evil for a bit, and then he managed to banish himself to the Shadowlands, which he technically was a living embodiment of that by now. After consuming Ian Cuckold's power, he became the most powerful person connected to the Shadowlands, other than the Shade. The Shade being a super cool villain, again, anti-hero technically. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself again. He also managed. He also fought along Mordru and Eclipso when trying to seek vengeance on the JSA. So he's a bit of a arse sometimes, I guess. But he was cured in a mental place after mental asylum because of his schizophrenia, and then he basically he returned to the JSA for a bit and became their head of security. And after this, he eventually retired. And as a fun fact, Obsidian is gay. He's a homosexual character, which is pretty cool. Getting diversity in, and I do like diversity. Please ignore the whole anti-diversity streak I went on in our first podcast. That was just because it was bugging me a little bit. Anyway, so basically the Obsidian retired, and he fell in love with someone called Damon Matthews, who was actually the assistant DA and worked with Kate Spencer, who goes by the alias of Manhunter. Anyway, his powers went dormant when he was not using them. Surprise, surprise. Dormant meaning asleep for all of you people who don't actually understand volcano terms. Anyway, he returned to becoming a superhero after his sister's death, like I talked about earlier in the Infinite Crisis event, and he remained happily married to Damon and is currently a superhero. Well, he is if the New 52 reboot didn't ruin him, make him black, and give him a blue mask, and then he never appeared in Rebirth. So I'm really upset about that. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself again. Let's talk about his powers. He has a Shadowlands connection, which basically means he has the ability to use and manipulate the Shadowlands to his will, and he also has the ability to go into something called Shadow Form, which is like when he turns into a living shadow and a 2D object. He can pass. This gives him the ability to be intangible, and which means you can travel through walls and ceiling, a bit like what Martian Manhunter does. He also has superhuman strength, meaning he can punch a car right at you. Superhuman stamina. It's kind of like speed, but it doesn't mean he runs fast. He's not the Flash. Flight. Well, yeah, obviously he's flight. Most superheroes who have anything have flight. He has shadow possession, which basically means that he can possess your shadows and make them kill you, which is again really, really fun. Right, next on the list of his powers is size alteration. Okay, here we go. This is something that Atom Smasher, the Atom, and Ant-Man, and other Gigantor, I guess. Yeah, anyone who changes size has the ability of size alteration. However, Obsidian has only ever been seen to go big, and that was when he took over the world. He turned blooming giant. He was taller. He was like Gigantor-sized giant. Gigantor being another DC hero, I believe. Anyway, he's also got the ability to perform shadow constructs. Shadow constructs being just like any Green Lantern constructs or anything like that, but just made out of pure shadows because, of course, he's connected to the Shadowlands. Right, and then he has this weird thing called Dark Side View, and just want to point out, I'm looking this up because I've never really understood what Dark Side View is. So he Obsidian basically has this like limited telepathic abilities, and when coming in contact with his victim's shadow, he could cause them to extreme emotional agony. So it's like what Gorilla Grodd can do with mental blasts, and basically he lets them seize their most inner fears. However, this does not work on villains of people of pure evil, which is like Solomon Grundy and Ultra Humanite, for those who know who they are. Solomon Grundy, of course, being Cyrus Gold, and there's a little riddle about him. Goes something like Solomon Grundy, born on the Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on the Wednesday, fell ill on Thursday, got worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on the Sunday. That was the life of Solomon Grundy. That's sad, but he's a villain. He's also kind of nice. He's a pretty cool villain as it happens. He's kind of badass in Arkham City. Anyway, again, getting ahead of myself. Sorry about that. He also has, because of this limited telepathic abilities, he has a psychic link with his sister, like most superhero siblings do, or super siblings do. Yeah, that's a really cool term. I like that. Super siblings. And well, obviously, if he is a shadow-based character, he is very weak to the light, meaning that the Flash could easily beat him, which is sad because the Flash is pathetic. I don't like CW, and I've never really been a huge fan of it, other than when they put Obsidian in the JSA in the DC Legends of Tomorrow, which actually kind of bugs me because Obsidian is a Silver Age hero, not a Golden Age hero. Just like I believe Stargirl is also a Silver Age hero, and yeah, that annoys me a lot. I don't like I like Obsidian's costume in that; it's not too bad, and yeah, he Obsidian's pretty cool in well, JSA. It's not too bad. And also, he's schizophrenic, which can mean he can have schizophrenic outbursts, leaving him to be evil at times. Also, if you didn't know, here's a few little more fun facts. He's a really big fan of a composer called Stephen Sondheim, I think, and he thinks that Sweeney Todd is the best American musical ever. He formerly dated the third Harlequin, and he's also been known as Obby and Shadow Weaver. Shadow Weaver, I think, is a really, really cool name. Personal opinion, but it's kind of cool name. And he also learned that he can use his shadow form. He is resistant to antimatter because he's pretty much invulnerable in his shadow form, but even to low amounts of antimatter. And so, like the amount of acid that a shadow demon is made out of. Shadow demons are kind of like, I think they're like evil, like kind of like when someone possesses your shadow and then uses it against you. But it's, have you heard of time wraiths from CW? They're like that, but then shadows and from the Shadowlands kind of. And also, before DC decided to name him Obsidian, they were going to call him Umbra and Ebon. I'm so glad they didn't choose those names. And here's a few really good reads for him. There is, of course, the Darkness Falls miniseries, and I love that. That's my three favorite comics are JSA, oh no, Justice Society of America. Yeah, JSA. JSA issues 7, 8, and 9 from the 2000 run, which is the first run. It started in 1999, ended around 2006. It was a really, really good run anyway of comics. I love those comics. And 7, 8, and 9 are really good. They focus on Obsidian and basically him turning bad, taking over the world, destroying Ian Carcoll and his foster mother. And then there's just general JSA comics and Infinity Inc. comics. If you can get your hands on them, highly recommend reading those, especially Infinity Inc. because he is a founding member of that. Also, there is a comic. I'm sorry, I don't have it with me right now. I'm not in my usual den of a very big comic collection, so I don't have everything with me, which is why also I don't have my mic working. I left the cable for it in another place. Anyway, um, there is a really cool comic where Obsidian is basically he's the security and he for the JSA building, and he basically covers the whole thing in a shutdown security mode. So because like there's some evil nasty ghost thing inside of there, which actually is, I believe, some Japanese spirit from the Hiroshima bombings or something like that. So yeah, that's quite cool. It links back to how the JSA had a part in the very questionable bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's everything. If you want to do more research on Obsidian, then you can go look at him on DC database or on Wikipedia, or you can do just pop around your local comic shop, see if any of the geeks there know who Obsidian is, and if they do, congratulate them because he's a not very well known character and very underappreciated. Anyway, I just want to point out really quickly, I'm sorry that we do not have a big podcast up because we recorded one, but due to some problems of editing, we're having loads of problems at the moment because WordPress still hate us, and we haven't got our, well, obviously I don't have my cable here, so I can't get the mic working, and also our podcast, which we did recorded last week, which was meant to be going up last week, hasn't been able to go up because of editing problems, but that will be coming up hopefully by the end of the week, soon after this one. So thanks for listening, guys, and I will speak to you later, probably next week. And that might be just a really quick thing to add on to that is the reason that some of the data and or news in that video may be out of date is because it is almost 2 weeks old now. So please give us a break. And thank you again for all of our lovely subscribers. We love you guys because all 13 of you. Kind of pathetic, but thanks anyway. And yeah, see you later. Bye.